Hi, and welcome to Painting with Karen. My name is Karen Sboto, and I'm a certified Ross instructor. And this video is just going to go over some of the things that you need to do one of the paintings that I do, that I have videos of. And I'm just going to go over the equipment and some of the things that we do to get ready to paint a painting. We're going to talk about paintbrushes. It's something that I buy a lot of, and it's something that I've bought a lot of. And when I started painting, I didn't want to invest on, I didn't want to invest on expensive paintbrushes, and I certainly didn't want to invest in the Bob Ross paintbrushes because I felt that they were pricey. And it was just a hobby. But when I started taking it seriously, and let me tell you, I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I started, I would go to auctions and buy old used painting equipment. And I would also go to the hardware store and use like big old brushes. As long as they were boar bristle brushes, I used them. And then my husband saw that I was getting serious about painting, and so he bought me a Christmas present, which was like a set of Bob Ross paintbrushes, and it was like amazing. And I took off as soon as I got those brushes. I took off, and I hate to say it, but it's true. Like there's like happy little trees in every brush. And I'm just going to show you some of my old brushes. This is from my original set of brushes. It is well used. It is at least 4 years old, and see how it still says Bob Ross on it. But the bristles are still great, and I have a set of brushes. I still use my original set of brushes in my studio at home, and I haven't cleaned them that great over here, but I mean they're handy dandy, 4 years old. Probably, let's say, maybe 500 paintings have come out of these brushes, which is a lot, but that's just the way that it is. And here is that's my original palette knife, and it has paint. It has paint from Bob Ross University. It has people like Nick Hankins have painted with this, and it is fantastic. I use it all the time. Now, when you buy your paintbrushes, if you are going to buy Bob Ross paintbrushes, there are some great deals when you buy more than one. If you are just buying one or two and buying them slowly at a time to build up your collection, this is the one. This is your brush. This is the first one you will buy, and it's a 1-inch landscape brush. And this one's actually brand new, so I'll use it in my class last time. So it's 1 inch. It says 1 on it, and you use this brush a lot. You use it to build trees. You use it to pull up grass. You're going to use this brush more than any other brush. So like we said, we had the 2-inch landscape brush, and this is your blender brush, and I used it to softly blend, to do all this blending here on this sky. Another brush that is my favorite example of trees living in a brush is your 1-inch round oval brush. And this one I have used, it's kind of my favorite one for trees. I've used it to do all these round trees, and it makes the little perfect bushes. I like really rounded kind of bushes and trees. The other one that you will use, and this is from my original set as well, is your fan brush. Fan brush is what you use to make those evergreens. The evergreens that Bob Ross did, and you just kind of, it's like a certain thing, but this brush you could do a whole painting with this brush, because you can kind of mat down this brush to get a straight line, and you can cut water with it. You can lay down trees. You can make bushes. This brush is versatile, and it is, if you have only one brush, this one will get you a painting, although it's not that big. So if you're going to do a big painting with this brush, you know, you have to commit at least a week to it. Sorry, something in my this is a filbert brush, and this one is also very very easy to use, and you use it a lot. I used my filbert to do my water. I use it a lot for water. I use it for rocks. I use a filbert brush. You could even use the filbert brush to do your waterfall. You could do it to pull some of these rocks down, but it's really good, and it's really good for tree trunks to just lay down the foundation for the tree trunks. And sand. Sand is, you need it for sand. The palette knife that you use to cut, your palette knife you're going to use to do rocks and mountains. And if you're going to invest in a palette knife, I like a big palette knife. You can have a small one, but if you learn to do everything with a big one, you're going to find that your small one you don't use that often unless you're doing a smaller painting or some intricate work. And this is just a small fan brush, so it's the same as a big one, just a little bit smaller. And this one is a number 3 fan blender brush. So they're all different kinds of brushes. I'm not doing an ad, it's not an infomercial. This is the Bob Ross catalog, and if you go online, you can get all the stuff if that's what you want. There was a lot of times that I had a hard time doing things because I wasn't using the right brush and I wasn't loading it right. And so I watched the videos over and over again, and then I thought, oh, he's pulling it through this way and he's pushing up on the brush. And those are the things that I try to teach you that on the videos. But if you have if I always teach with the brushes, which is why my classes cost what they cost, because I teach with the Bob Ross brushes, because I want everyone to start at the first at the same line. So I want everyone to have the same opportunity, to have the same success. And if I tell you to do this with this brush, I know that you're going to have that same result. So if you're going to invest in brushes, that would be my recommendation. If you want to try out the brushes, take a class, and then that way you can actually try out all the equipment and see if you like it and see if that's something that you want to invest in. This is a palette, and it's the Bob Ross palette, so it's the one that you get used to. I really like using a palette because I do a lot of outdoor painting, and when I use my outdoor painting, this is my work area. I don't have a desk, I don't have anything. I have me, my canvas, and my paints. When you lay out your canvas, it's really important that you always keep your paints in the same order. I'm not going to tell you what order to put them in, but it's always important for yourself to keep them in the same order so that you know which paint you're reaching for. This is Prussian blue, and this is midnight black, and I can't tell the difference usually until you mix white or another color to it. So it's really important that you do it. These are very, very dry paints, so you can see the outline of how they came out of the tube. It's always really good to just lay your paints down and then give yourself a little runway with them. And when you set up your palette, you always make a little runway so that you can cut into the paints, or when you're mixing, if you're mixing one paint with another paint, you can just mix this bottom part of the paint and not get it into the original paint. So I'm getting ready to do a painting with these paints on it. So I'm just pulling the paint on there, And I'm making a little runway for all my paint, so it just makes it easier. Also, when you put your paints, what I do is I use 3 blotches of white, because white is something that you always run out of, and white always gets dirty. So this just keeps my whites separate and clean. I use my yellows. I always put my yellows down on the bottom. Usually my yellows are, sometimes they're at the beginning of the painting on the skyline, but a lot of times they are used at the end of the painting to highlight leaves and to give the illusion of plants. So I keep them down here. This is your work area in between colors, or sometimes if you have too much, you just scrape things off, clean this work area, and then start again for mixing. One of the tricks of painting is to use black gesso, and black gesso gives the canvas more depth. It's really simple to put on. I just use a paper towel, and you don't need to, you can use a brush, you can use whatever you want. I like a paper towel because then I don't have to wash it, I can just throw it out. So you just crumple your paper towel and you get it all over your hands. All you do is you just dip the gesso into the paper towel, and you're doing these kind of little shapes in the background that give your painting a lot of depth. I am going to be painting waterfall with a stream for this one. So this is pretty solid. And then we're making an assumption that there's going to be some little bushes. There's going to be some stuff in the background. And then there's going to be trees up here, and my tree line is going to be here. So it's just, and I'm not doing anything other than just tapping. So you're just tapping this. And I'm tapping this, and these are going to be some of the leaves of the tree. And that's all you need to do. So that is the black gesso, and you wait for it to dry, and then all your liquid clear or your liquid white, whichever you're going to use, that goes on top of that. But that is getting your canvas ready for the black gesso. One of the things that you don't see on camera when a class is being taught is how we get the canvas ready. You always have to have something to make your canvas slippery in order to do the correct process for this. And I am going to use, for this canvas, I'm going to use liquid clear. Now, liquid clear is in so many ways a forever chemical. It's you need very little of it, and if you buy 1 container of liquid clear, it should pretty much keep you your whole life. Another thing that is used also is liquid white. This is what it looks like. With liquid white, I would suggest that you don't, when you get your container of it, that you don't just shake it. You really have to scoop the bottom of it out and really mix it. So if you use a fork, is what Faye taught me, is that you use a fork and you just really get the dredges from the bottom. I keep all my liquids, my liquid clear, my liquid white. This is my liquid white. It's in a mustard bottle, which would be liquid yellow, right? But no, I use that because it's just easier to squeeze it. When I teach a class, I put it into these little cups and it's way easier. And even when I use it at home, I squeeze it out of here and I put it in a little cup to spread it onto my canvas. And this is my liquid clear. And something about the liquid clear is it's very It's very much like glue, so when I'm done with this, I'm going to throw out the container and start again. In order to get the liquid clear, what you want to do is you want to put it on your canvas, and you really need very little of it. You just have to spread it, and so don't just start in the middle and then do it. Just put a little bit all over, and really a very small amount is all you need. So I have it here, and you're just going to scrub it onto your canvas. And this should take you a few minutes because you really want to spread it on. And you can see that your black is shiny where you have your liquid clear. And it's always, it's just the scrubbing on. So I think I have it on. So what I always do is I take a paper towel, just any paper towel, and you dab it on because you don't want to have too much. See, there was probably too much right there. And so I'm pulling it off. See how it's on the thing? That's just, I had too much of it on my canvas. Now, remember, this is a paper towel. So a paper towel has a design on it. So after you do it, then you go back and you brush your canvas one more time just to get the design, the paper towel design off your canvas. So now our canvas is ready, our paints are ready, and now you should be able to take whatever class it is that you want to do from one of my videos. Thanks.